Bonjour à tous, bienvenido a todos y todas. ازيكم عاملين ايه? Hi everyone, my name is Omar and welcome back to the Debo's Way. Now today I want to share with you 3 ways you can use language learning apps to help you learn the language that you want to learn. Aujourd'hui, je vais juste concentrer sur les applications pour apprendre une nouvelle langue, pero si queréis más videos para aprender un nuevo idioma, tengo muchos videos aquí. And I'm gonna put the link to all the videos down in the description. And before we get started, from my personal experience, language learning apps on their own without anything else won't get you to a fluent level in the language. But if you use them to complement your journey, they will really help you out. So without further ado, let's see how they can help us out. Now, I wish I knew this earlier when I was learning French, and I used it a lot when I was learning Spanish, but Duolingo, which is a very famous language learning app, they have their own podcast. And now on this podcast, you essentially listen to the podcast in the language you're trying to learn, and then they give you context as to what was just said. Now, these are completely free, and I promise you, they are so helpful, and they're so interesting as well. Like, I remember one of the ones I was listening to, it was talking about this guy who was working a serious job, and for his whole life, he always wanted to work as a clown. And it talks about his journey as to how he went from working a corporate job to working as a clown, which is something I probably wouldn't have ever listened to if I didn't listen to that French podcast. And they have so many other interesting stories, like some about football, some murder mysteries, you name it. And what's so helpful is that they also have the transcripts. So if there's ever a word or an expression that you want to look into, you can open the transcript and then write it and add it to your Quizlet. And now, speaking of Quizlet, you want to use the flashcards feature to help you remember words and expressions. And now you want to do this when you're watching something in the language that you want to learn. Now let's say you're watching a kids TV show in the language you're trying to learn. And by the way, they are very useful. I would highly recommend it. But yeah, let's say you're watching that. You're gonna have your phone beside you and you're gonna have Quizlet open. And now I'm sure there's other applications that have a similar function, but personally I used Quizlet and it was great. Now while you're watching the show, you're gonna have your phone beside you. And anytime you realize that there's an expression, a word, something that's been repeated multiple times within the same episode, you're gonna pick up your phone and you're gonna write it down as one of the flashcards. And now one of the benefits with Quizlet is that anytime you write a word or an expression, usually it tells you the translation of that word or expression in the field under it. And now hopefully my editing skills are good or my screen recording skills are good, and you should see this here on the right. So anytime you write down the word or expression that you've learned, you'll find the direct translation. And as you watch the episode or the TV show or whatever it is that you're watching, you're gonna find that you're gonna accumulate a number of phrases and expressions. So after you've accumulated a bunch of words and expressions to work with, you're going to create a set on Quizlet. But here's what I want you to do. When you're creating the set, don't include more than 10 flashcards. And now why do I say this? You don't want the set to be overwhelming, because if every time you open the set, there's like 30 or 40 flashcards, you're not going to be inclined to do it. You're going to procrastinate and you're not going to use the set. But if the set only has 10 flashcards, then it's going to be easier to do than not to do. And now that you have the set with the 10 flashcards, I want you to try and use the mini gaps throughout your day to do the flashcards. So for example, let's say you're waiting for a friend and they're a few minutes late. Perfect. We're gonna use this as an opportunity to quickly do the flashcards. Maybe you're waiting for the elevator and it's taking a bit too long. You do the flashcards. You're waiting in a line and it's taking too long. You do the flashcards. Anytime throughout your day you find that you have a mini gap, all it takes is 2 minutes. Because like we said, we're gonna make the set small so it's easier to do than it is not to do. And I promise you, you will find that with the repetition of doing the flashcards, the words and expressions will start to stick. And when you find yourself getting more and more comfortable with one set, that's when you start to create the second set. And from my own experience, if I were to give you a piece of advice, don't make a new set until you've mastered the set you're currently working on. Because sometimes it can get quite addictive to make more and more sets because we think we're learning the language by typing in the words. No. We will learn the language when we practice the set we currently have and we master it. So make sure you know the set that you're doing, and then when you've gotten comfortable with it, that's when you want to make the new set. And now finally, I literally use this app all the time, and it's called Reverso Context. And now for finding accurate translations, I used to use Google Translate, which is helpful at times, but sometimes you want to understand the context of what's being said. Because when you want to translate something, you don't always want the literal translation. You want the translation in the right context. And what's really nice about Reverso Context is that it will give you multiple translations for the word or expression you put in. Like, you know how for Google Translate, when you put in an expression, you will get one translation. But when you do the same thing for Reverso Context, you'll get multiple meanings for that same expression. And the same thing if you put in a word. And what's even better is that you also get sentences using the word you're trying to learn, so that you then understand how to use that word in your future conversations. And Reverso Context also has this really nice feature where you can use the camera of your phone to get the direct translation of the language you're trying to learn. So let's say you're watching a TV show and there's a bunch of subtitles that you don't understand and you don't want to type it out. You can use the camera of your phone to get the direct translation. Now, I'm pretty sure Google Translate has the same feature, but if you want to centralize the app you're using, I would highly recommend Reverso Context. And as a quick summary, we have Duolingo for podcasts, Quizlet for flashcards, and Reverso Context to get multiple translations and to also use your camera to be able to get the direct translation. Now, obviously, just to make this very clear, I'm not sponsored by any of these apps. I'm simply sharing my experience for the apps that worked for me. Now, anyways, I hope you enjoyed our conversation, and I hope the 3 things I shared with you today will help you on your language learning journey. And like I always say, this is the Debo's way. Find your own way. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you soon. Peace!